Good morning, boys and girls. This is Wayne Setzer with a camera show and tell. What I have here is my Wisner 4x5 Technical Field Camera. Now, this is not the smallest or lightest of the field cameras that are available. This one is about 5 inches thick here. It's about 10 inches side to side, including the knobs, and about 9 inches tall. Now, on the bottom of it, we'll start our tour there, we have a recessed brass tripod mounting plate, which makes for a very sturdy mounting system. Attached to that, I have my Bogan 410 quick release plate. Let's mount it up and show you what it can do. Okay, first thing we have to do is set it up ready for use. Simple process. We loosen these two knobs right here. They're the back supports. I unclip these front pieces, bring the front up to vertical, and there are detents on these supports here telling you when it is vertical. Tighten that down. Now I loosen my focus knob over here and I crank this front bed out until the back of that front bed is about even with that focus knob. Tighten it down a little bit. Now to unfold the front, I loosen both sets of knobs here. This one I pull back on until it gets to the end of these struts. While lifting up, I push down on the lens standard. Goes into clicks position there. Lower it until it's centered. There's little indicators to tell you where that is. And then just like the back, these struts have little detents telling you when it's vertical. Tighten all that down. Loosen my focus, bring it on back, and we're ready to use. Okay. Now let's look at some of the features it has. On the front, we have both base tilt and, for me, a much more useful axis tilt, front and back, and front rise and fall. Okay. Now also on the front, if I loosen these knobs right here, I get a front shift and a front swing. So we get a full complement of front movements. Tighten everything back down and we'll look at the back. Now on the back, we also have that base tilt forward and back. And if I loosen these knobs down here, I have swing. Tighten that up. Now here are the two features that make the Wisner unique to other field cameras that I looked at. We have a geared axis tilt. If I loosen it on the right hand side, now if I turn this knob, watch what happens to the back. Basically the bottom of the standard here swings in and the back or the top swings out just a little bit. It's actually revolving around a point through the film plane here, about a third from the top. Advantage to that is there's much less tilt, refocus to zero in on that the amount of tilt you need. Once you find that, it's usually a matter of focusing on the near point and then tilting to get the far point into focus. Once you get that done, another unique feature to this is a parallel rear rise. Now offhand, I can't think of any other field camera that offers a rise at all. And even most monorails offer a rise that's not parallel to the film. So if I loosen these, actually 4 little knobs here, I can lift the back here, oops, up like that. Now, advantage to that is once I spend that time getting that plane of focus right with the tilts, since I'm rising parallel to the film, it's not going to change my focus, so there's no refocusing involved if I choose to do a rise on the rear. Big time saver. Okay. Let's put that all back down. Okay, those are the movements the camera has. Everything's centered again. Now let's look at some of the other unique features it has. They use what they call a triple extension bed. So most field cameras you can crank the front out a bit. Okay. Wisner took that a step further. They also made the rear extend backwards. that's about our limit before we run out of focus rack here. And the same on the front. That is quite a bit of bellows extension for whatever kind of lens you want to use, or if you want to really do a lot of close-up stuff. Now, if that's not quite enough, there's a little trick you can do. If we loosen our front supports here again, and if we tilt it forward, and then tilt the lens back to vertical, and rise it a little bit so we're centered again, I can get a full 23 inches of bellows extension. Okay? So I've never run into a case where I needed anything more than that. Okay? Okay. Now the long extension like that is great, but it does have one drawback. And that's, in order to accomplish that, there's a lot of bellows in here, which means it's a little hard to collapse that if you want to use wide angle lenses. So let's see how they got around that problem. I'm going to bring the back in to its nearest position. It's right about there. Now if you notice, the bellows sags a bit when you extend it and bring it back in. To help you avoid getting the bellows, shadow of the bellows in the picture, there's a little clip right here to pull that up to get rid of that problem. Okay. Now if we pull this back, okay, that's as far as we can go without running out of the focus mechanism here. Now we can get a little bit closer by doing that same trick we did on the front, but only the other direction. If I loosen everything here and I tilt it back and then do a little bit of rise on it to get everything centered again. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay. You can actually use a 90mm lens like that with those bellows collapsed. But I have a 65, which I rarely use, but on the rare occasion that I do, this doesn't do the trick. Also, if I want to use movements with a 90, that bellows is so compressed you can't do that. So, what Wisner chose to do, if we remove the back, 2 clips on top, and also reach in here on the back of the lens stand, there's some other clips. We can pull, oops, tighten that up first. We can pull the bellows out and in its place put a bag bellows. Okay. So if I clip that onto the standard, drop this back here. I always make it a habit of pushing these bellows out a little bit so they won't get in the way. And then I can put the back on again. Okay. Okay, now movements aren't a problem anymore if I want to use my 90. And to focus closer with the 65, I'm still limited by the focus rack here. So I can bring that back a little bit more. There we go. Center it back up. And now I can actually move it far enough back that the front standard is actually touching the ground glass. So collapsing it's no problem. You can use it as wide as you want to do. Okay. Okay. Quick look at the back of the camera and the side. We have bubble levels here for getting the vertical setup, or the plumb setup rather. And then on the back here we have bubble levels here and here for getting it vertical, horizontal rather. To change from a horizontal to a vertical format, typical field camera type, we unclip it, take that off, rotate it, and put it back on. Simple enough. Okay. Now, to collapse it, first thing we have to do is put our standard bellows back on. So I need to extend it a little bit so I have some room to do that. Unclip it here, unclip it there, take this, and back to normal. Okay, to collapse. I always start by getting the back of the camera flush back here. So I'll bring that back and I'll just usually just feel where it's flush. Tighten that up. Extend the front like I did before so the rear of its bed is about even with the focus rack. Tighten that down. And then loosen everything up here. Bring the lens to the top. Bring it back and in until it clicks. Slide it forward. Tighten that down. Tighten those down. Loosen my focus. Bring that back so it is flush up here. Tighten that. Loosen these. Down till it clicks. There we are. The Wisner 4x5 Technical Field Camera. They also made a 5x7, 8x10 versions of these. Great camera. If you have any questions about the finer points of operation, please let me know. If you have a camera you use a lot, I encourage you to do a kind of a little show and tell of your own. Thank you.